What's up, guys? Happy New Year. Welcome back.
Welcome to the Decker Fit Venture podcast, where we help people live their best life to grow and continue to get better as we age. We aspire to give hope and help lead people to freedom in their fitness and life. I'm Nick. This is Whitney.
What's up?
What's up, fit friends?
Yay. Yeah.
All right.
Happy 2025.
Happy 2025. First podcast of 2025. So finishing up 2024, we're going to talk about some things that we learned, some growth that we had in 2024, and then we're going to specifically talk about some goals going into 2025, specifically for us and our family personally, but also for the gym and moving forward with that. So Whitney does have her phone because we took a lot of notes for this, and so we're very excited to kind of get into this with you guys.
Yeah, we had a lot of growth, I think. Well, growth might not be the right word. We had a lot of changes in 2024. We started out 2024 kind of in a haze, I think.
Very much. I was, at least.
Yes, well...
Whitney is so strong that she was able to carry me.
It all came to a head in July, but...
for the beginning of it.
For those of you, if this is your first podcast, Nick's mother passed away unexpectedly at the beginning of December last year. And then very shortly after, his grandmother, Nana, went into the hospital for almost 3 weeks. She was in for a while. I know it was over Christmas, and almost passed away a couple times. Yeah.
So the month of December 2023 was a whirlwind, and I didn't really pick up the pieces very well. And so the beginning of the year was very rough, and a very sharp curve of growth coming from spring into summer.
Yeah. Well, we had so much to navigate in 2024. I feel completely different this January than I did last January, right? Like last January was just like, let's hang on for dear life. As Nick has said, he mentally, headspace wasn't really there for a lot of things.
I don't remember, honestly, the first probably quarter of last year.
I picked up all of it. So the gym stuff, the home stuff, figuring out Nana's schedule because she requires a full-time caregiver, and Robin, Nick's mom, Robin, was the full-time caregiver, so we stepped into that role. So figuring all of that out, finding out where bills were, how to do all of that with her, the finances, getting a power of attorney, making sure we were able to access all of that. I took all of that on, and probably in July was the turning point where I was just like, I literally cannot do all of this on my own anymore. The mental load of it just became too much, and it was unfortunately a blow up too much. It was not handled very well on my part. I had been talking about that things needed to change for a while, and it just finally was
and
one
I'm
of those.
A guy, and I'm thick-headed, and so I did not read in between the lines or understand really what she was saying. And it took her exploding and being very clear about what she needed and wanted for me to kind of snap out of that funk and start to actually help and pick up my load. If you guys are married out there, obviously a marriage is 100%. Well, she was giving 150%, and I was giving about 50%. So it was not a good path for us to be on, and so it was a big change right there in kind of July time frame.
And it's been, I mean, thankfully we are really good at communicating with each other, even though sometimes it's not the nicest communication. But since then, like, I think we just came into this year with such a different mentality. A lot of what we went through last year, I feel like, was just this navigating, going through all of this stuff that this year, like, I want it to be simplified. Like, one of the biggest learning points for me and the changes and the growth is that I don't want to have to do a million other things just to get to where I want to be. Like, I want it to be a simplified process, whether that's at home, at the gym. Like, I don't want to have to click a million different buttons to do the one thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Right? And, like, I love Nana, but sometimes with some of the bills she was paying, it was a whole way around this way when we could just go to one website and be done with it. Right? Like, and that's part of
the learning.
Yeah, the learning part of it and just getting it situated. And I feel like we're both finally, like, I don't know how to explain how I feel differently this year, but I am on a mission. Like, I feel like we are both aligned, finally. Like, we're both in the same place. Like, it's still not easy by any means. I mean, it's only been a year.
It's not going to be. It's never going to be.
There are still moments where, I mean, I dream every now and again that walks in the door and it's just like, just kidding. I just needed a vacation. I needed a break.
Yeah.
And
we just had a person come into the gym, I don't know, an hour ago, and her name was Robin. And when she introduced herself,
I didn't hear that. Are you going to cry?
I froze for a second, just because the way she was talking is very similar to how my mom was before she passed away, and it's like I saw my mom's face when she introduced herself.
I don't know what this is, but it's now mine.
So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't get easier. It's not going to get easier, right? Life, and God doesn't promise an easy life, but he promises a fulfilling life when we live by his will. And I think we're on the same page and finally starting to actually relinquish some of our control and, let go and letting God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was a big learning process. Right after that, I think I with my mom passing and, how she passed, I think I was angry, at her for not making changes that she should have made, that could have potentially helped save her life, right? And as we were going through that, I took some of that anger, kind of out at people, yelling at people, pushing people harder than they wanted to or really realistically needed to. None of us are going to the games. We're not getting a trophy, for working out. And yet I was pushing people in kind of that direction, and that's just not who I am. So learning to coach people through that, not by yelling at them or, telling them to go faster or harder, but to actually leading them and in that kind of growth process, has actually made me a better coach, I think. God always has a plan, and, we don't see the plan, but he always has a plan. And so doing that and finally getting onto the same path as what he wants rather than trying to control that, I think is one of the big things that we took out of 2024.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely so many things, like, because I took on everything, and just the how long some things took me to do when it shouldn't be that hard. Like, that's where a lot of mine comes from. Like, the just simplifying things and making it easier on us.
Yeah.
And simpler. I mean, we're already going to go through hardships regardless. Like, that's just how life is. Why should the things that we do on a daily basis or a monthly basis with bill paying or whatever the case may be harder than they need to be?
Yeah. Well, I think we get stuck in our ways, and we find a thing that is doing the thing. Yeah, so we get stuck in that. And I think that's one of the things going from 2024 into 2025, that we are really kind of challenging the status quo in our lives.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, there's a million different apps for a million different things. And it's like, okay, well, we should be maybe looking for a better option, not just sticking with the status quo, because we don't want to have the status quo life. We want to have a thriving, growing life.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
So, you know, that kind of knowing that sort of stuff, we're going to talk about some of our goals going into 2025. We're going to talk about them on a personal level, but we're also going to talk about just kind of our gym goals and what we're trying to accomplish as a team here at CFC. So we'll start with kind of personal stuff. I think every year I kind of have a theme, a word or a couple words that kind of define where I want to go, like what I want to accomplish. And for my personal life, the words are discipline and growth. So discipline just in daily life, really accomplishing and doing the things that we say we're going to do. And then growth just in our personal life with relationships and growing in leadership and stuff like that. I think that's what keeps popping into my head. It's what God's putting on my heart. And so for me, I'm reading my Bible every day, waking up early. I was doing a side hustle. Now I am 100% all in on the gym, so I will be here full time, helping Whitney grow and build the business. And so with that comes relationships, because we're in the relationship business. We have 100 to 115 members and people that we see on a very normal basis, and in order to grow with those people, we have to build relationships with those people. And so that's kind of one of my goals, is to be more attentive and build those relationships with all of those people. And growth in our relationship together. I think growing in strength and leadership together. Next week we're starting a leadership program, I guess, mentorship program called Regeneration. And it's first we're going to go through it ourselves. And
it's a 9-month program.
It's a 9-month program, and then we're also going to mentor and help people through it after that. And it's through our church, and it is basically broken people healing and then helping other broken people heal themselves. So I am clearly a very broken human. I think we all are. We all have our brokenness, our sin, our stuff that we deal with on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
And starting this campaign, we're going to be broken down and rebuilt back up by God. And so yeah,
I
I'm
need to
very
start packing tissues in my bag.
right. So I'm very, not even gonna lie, nervous, but also very excited about that. And I think
Yeah.
that's gonna help us overall in our life. And then we are also starting a mentorship program through our gym to help grow our gym and have,
Simplify things.
yeah, coaches need coaches,
Yeah.
right? And so we're at a point where it's like, okay, we have the status quo, but I'm not okay with the status quo anymore.
And nothing changes if nothing changes.
Right. And so having that mentorship for growth is kind of where we're looking to go.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I think it's the same discipline and growth, personal, but also those are obviously work with the gym, because we really have like 4 words, right?
Yeah.
Focused, because I find if I don't set the intent or intention of studying, reading, learning, I put on a movie on Netflix or find a show on Hulu, and I'm just doing that on my phone instead of what I should be. So focused, disciplined, simplified, growth, like those are the big things for us this year. Being and I think intentional, we could probably add, but just being very intentional with our time. Like when I was studying for my level 3, initially, I had it scheduled, I think, for before Robin passed, and then I had moved it out because I wasn't studying the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then she passed, and it was like there was no studying because I couldn't. And I had reached out to actually, like full disclosure, I had reached out to actually not take the level 3. Just put the money towards like a level 2 and just re-up my level 2 just to have it, because I knew it was expiring last year. And that they were not able to do that. So in July, like I set a date, I think 3 months out.
Something like that. September. July to September or something, I think.
No, well, July, because my cert expired in August.
Okay.
So I set the date in July, and I literally, there's so much material for the level 3, like studying. I printed, paid, I think the UPS store to print out a copy of every single thing and put them in binders.
Twice.
For 2. Organized it.
I mean, this is probably legitimately.
It's 4 binders of stuff.
It's probably a 400 or 500 page textbook.
Yeah.
That you split into 4 binders.
Yes.
With kind of a theme for each sort of thing.
And I made the intention to sit down every morning and read at least 1 article, take notes if I needed it, and get through all of it. And then at the end, go back and focus on the things that I had questions about. And that's how I studied, and that's how I passed the level 3. And then I finished that. I kind of went by the wayside, started watching things on Hulu, on Netflix, and now that's changing for 2025. Like when we have the downtime, like I'll put stuff on when I'm doing stuff on my computer, like admin work, because I like having the background noise, especially if I'm by myself. That was really hard to get out. Especially extricate. I said it right. Side note, the other word I could not say, the other night I could not say that word. Extricating is something like that.
I'm pretty sure she had a stroke.
I did. It was hard. Anyways.
It took like minutes to get that word out.
It was very hard.
Extricate.
And I still have to do it slow because clearly I'm special. But yeah, I want to be very intentional with our time this year and really have that growth with ourselves and our family, but at the gym and just making it everything that we want and more.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think over the past couple years, we've had life events and sort of stuff, and we kind of fall out of the rhythm. But even, I mean, when I went full time, 2022, right, into 2023,
yes.
before my mom died, even with our extra, I'm pretty sure I finished off 2022 at Precision, and then
Yes, you
January
were
1,
off
2023
yes,
was
yes.
my first like
Yeah,
full time.
sorry, I was trying to
But
track what you were
even
saying.
with that, I didn't treat the gym as a full-time job.
Right.
Like, I came in, I did my coaching and all that sort of stuff, but one, I think I kind of mailed it in, or it just wasn't, not that I mailed it in, but I just wasn't at the level of coaching that I am now, that I've learned. I don't think I had my level 1. I think I got that.
To level 2.
Or, yeah, I think I was still at my level 1. I got my level 2, I think.
In 2023?
In 2023, like August, September 2023,
I don't know.
think.
It's on your thing out there.
But anyways, I wasn't at the level that I am coaching-wise. I didn't take my coaching as seriously. So it was very like, okay, I'm coming in, and I kind of had in my head a rough warm-up stuff, but I was winging a lot of it, right? And so even with that, but now it's like, okay, this is my full-time thing, and this isn't going to grow if we don't grow it. And so
Truth.
taking time throughout the day to do the stuff necessary, maintaining stuff around the gym, you know, actually doing, you know, reaching out to people and trying to create those conversations and stuff like that. Like, wasn't really doing any of that. Like, people were coming in, okay, cool, like I'd reach out and all that, but now it's very intentional about how I'm doing it, and that's part of kind of shifting systems and stuff, I think, going into 2025, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but
You jumped ahead.
I did jump ahead a little bit, but so we'll get back on task. But that just kind of shows you how personal stuff
Yes.
also feeds into our business stuff, right? So intentionally growing personally,
Yes.
you know.
Well, it affects everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it starts with us. Everything starts and ends with us. And that's maybe something I think I've tried to, starting out, I've tried to shirk off as much as I can, vice taking on as much as I can to learn as much as I can, and then, okay, now we can delegate stuff. Like, there's a lot of things I don't know how to do in the gym, full disclosure. Whitney does a lot of the back office sort of stuff. Well,
surprise.
How am I supposed to be an effective business owner if I don't understand how the business runs? Right?
Well, and I think if
that's part of the simplifying stuff, because
and if we're switching systems, then we both learn it together.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've been very intentional the past month or so trying to learn this stuff, and I don't comprehend the computer stuff. I don't. Like, this whole YouTube thing is a very new skill that I've been trying to learn, right? And so learning to do that in my business versus living some fantasy and staying focused in the now, right? Shocker, if you guys don't know me, but I'm a dreamer. And so, like, I constantly have kind of that long-term vision of where I want to go. I think one of my faults is not extracting daily what I need to do to grow and to get there. And so, like, I focus on that long-term thing, but I don't do what needs to be done now and focus now so that we can get there in the future.
Yes.
You know, it's a very much like, oh, if we win the lottery, I would love to do this sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, calm down. Like, let's just make $5,000 a month first before we worry about $100 million, right?
You know, the lottery that we don't play.
Right. But, like, there's always that daydreaming kind of mindset in my head, and that's something that I'm trying to reel in personally.
Yeah.
2025.
Well, I think it's I mean, for both of us, it's also focused on the now, but also enjoying the now.
Right.
I mean, we have a lot of things now that we have wanted and prayed for and worked for. And I think we don't give ourselves enough credit for that, right? We always look at
Like what?
Gabriel. I mean, we're starting year 5 of owning a business, and we're still debt-free in the business.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we still have new people coming in. We get constant messages like, oh, it's going to make me cry. Like, that we're making a difference in people's lives. Like,
Yeah.
Kelly and Katie and Jeremy and, you know,
Yeah.
just who, Corelli yesterday. Like, we prayed for this. We wanted to open a gym in our garage. Full disclosure, we were going to start it in our garage. And this, we say fell in our lap, but God. I mean, that's right. Like, we weren't looking to become the owners of CrossFit Chesapeake. We weren't.
We were literally just coaches here. I mean, we made it very clear, like, what
that was our
intent
goal,
was, and the future was to open a gym. But, we had no thought process that it would be then at all.
No, and I didn't know. We definitely did not think it was going to be in 2020.
Way, shape, or form.
But I mean, that's just off the cuff, right? Like, so we focus so much on like the hardships and the things that, made this past year hard. And I mean, to be very clear, when we bought the gym, 2 months later, I found out I was pregnant. And we had gone through so many miscarriages. It was one of those, like, in the back of my head, like, is this going to stick?
Yeah.
And so we were learning a new business while I was going through the stressors of a pregnancy that I didn't know was
going to be healthy.
Yeah. And so then the 2021 into 2022, when he was born, and learning to be a mom to a newborn, I mean, I had stepchildren and Malachi, but never a newborn. I had never done that before, and still trying to work the business. And Nick was working at Precision. So probably to be fair, we really haven't 100% focused on the gym.
Yeah, we haven't. No.
And like, because life event after life event after life event has happened, we get it,
Life be life. But if we want this to be our life, then we have to focus and actually take time to build it.
Yes.
So if you build it, they will come, right?
But that's focusing, like you said, on the now and enjoying the now and appreciating where we are, but taking the steps to get where we want to be in the future. Yeah. And I think, a lot of that for us, like personal-wise, going back to our personal goals, one of the big thing for us is that we want to focus more on experiences than things. I wrote over money, but I think over things, right? Yeah. So instead of buying a bunch of stuff, we want to go have experiences with our family. Take the boys, on trips and to do things rather than here's some more stuff that you can throw in the toy box that you never play with, right?
Honestly, I think we order stuff so that we can have the boxes to play with, so the kids can play with the boxes.
You're not wrong.
They're more interested in that sort of thing than they are actually the toy or whatever it is that we get.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're also...
And that started with Christmas because we didn't buy really anything for Christmas. But what we did buy for Christmas was Busch Gardens and Water Country season passes, which is, if you're not from around here, it's a theme park and a water park. And we did that with friends also. So now we get to go and hang out with friends that have kids of similar age and have kind of similar mindsets as us. Yeah. And so we get to do that experience and experience life with people rather than us being just homebody, doing nothing, woe is me, we can't ever go do anything, which... a lot of the stuff, the reason that we haven't done it is because we've let those excuses creep into our head of life, right? And, we all have weak constitutions every now and again. And, I fall into that. Yeah. So it's been failure on my part. And as a man leading my family, like, it's been a failure on my part. So, let's get going. I mean, there's a reason that I'm strong, and it's not to shirk responsibility and to let somebody else pick up the pieces where I suck. So,
and with that, like, it's more time and financial freedom to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
To be able, this is, yes, the gym is ours. It's not that we don't want to be here, but it would be nice to have the people and systems in place so that we are able to go and do that, to go and take a week to visit my mom in Florida have the experiences and do those things. So that's one of our personal goals.
Yeah,
for sure.
More time and financial freedom.
Yep.
We probably could take the time and get away with it, but at the same time, not really having the extra finances to justify, trips and stuff like that. Right now, we're making ends meet, and we're in a much better financial situation than a lot of other people because we've been smart with our money, but there's not a whole lot of extra.
Yeah. Truth.
So being able to do that, being able to make enough money to renovate our bathroom and our kitchen, which are two things that
two big things.
Big things that we want to do,
at the house.
At the house, make it feel a little bit more like home and a little bit more comfortable.
Be able to start investing in our future.
Yeah. So, right now we don't have a whole lot of extra to be able to put into IRAs or brokerage accounts or anything like that to be able to grow. So it's just savings and our general, getting our emergency fund of savings, which, we try to have 3 to 6 months of expenses. So if something were to happen, we have money to be able to pay our bills on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And then
I have my IRA, but we are not investing in it.
Right. And I have a small IRA too. And it's like we have those things, but we're not investing into it right now because we took time to pay off debts and all that sort of stuff. So now is the time. Okay, cool. We've got everything done. Like
we have
instead
to do
of
something.
eating out,
a couple times a week.
Yeah. Instead of eating out a couple times a week, maybe we scale that back, right? So it hasn't been a matter of prioritizing that, which going into 2025, we are.
We're going to be more intentional about it.
Yeah.
See, I got to add that word to my list. I have a list.
Yeah. So, for me, it is being more thoughtful in my speech. We were talking about this before we started recording the podcast, and it's like I'm very blunt a lot of times, and again, kind of looking at that dreamer kind of mindset of mine. I've always got my eyes focused on other stuff, and I talk about other stuff, but with that, I'm not super professional, and I tend to curse a lot. It's I grew up like that. The words never really. It is what it is. It's a word.
Yeah.
So curse words tend to be a natural vernacular for me. And that's something I want to get away with,
Get away from.
Get away from, not away with. Yeah, get away from.
You get away with it now.
Yeah. So, I don't want it to be a shock to people when I have business stuff going on and I actually can put together a professional email or text message to somebody. I don't want it to be a shock. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Not like, wow, Nick put that together? Yeah.
Sometimes you need the hard truths, unfortunately.
A lot of times, yeah.
Yep.
It's like, so yeah, again, being able to focus on the now and trying to rein all that in is something that is pretty big on my list for this year.
Yeah.
So
for sure,
reining that in, being disciplined on a daily basis and intentional, getting into my Bible every day. Also, me and Whitney praying every night together, something that we've started recently because
January 1.
Yeah, full transparency. For whatever reason, I've been terrified. I don't know if it's, me terrified that I'll say something that's not right or, bring up something that I don't intend to bring up, or I don't know what it is.
Are you hiding things?
No, I'm not obviously hiding anything because you have full access to all my stuff. But I don't know what it is, but I've been terrified of actually praying out loud, and I have my prayers in my head, but praying out loud for people and for myself and my wife and our friends and people in our lives that have asked me to pray. I pray for them in my head, but not something out loud. And I think there's something powerful about that. And for me, it is something that is stretching me a lot on a daily basis to do that. It's day 3 or 4, whatever it is.
Today will be day 4. When I don't, and that's funny because like New Year's night, we were laying in bed, and it was just like, I think we should pray out loud. Like, was it a surprise to you when I said that?
Yes and no. It caught me a little bit off guard because I wasn't really expecting that, but at the same time, I have said it multiple times that I want to start doing it. It's one of those things of like, I talk a good game and I say things and then I don't follow through, and that's something that I'm trying to change is, actually being intentional about what I say and following through with what I say. And so finally.
Yeah, like I said it, and he was like, why? And I was like, well, it's January 1st, and this is the year so many changes are going to happen, and we really want God to be first in our lives. And that's one of the biggest steps, I think, for us to do that.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, and now it's time to be about it.
Yeah.
It's like God should be first, should be God, then us together, and then like our kids and our family, like that's, and then friends and all that. Like that's kind of the hierarchy of prioritization. And something we've been
now we're being about it.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of off the top of our head when it comes to personal sort of stuff, and I'm sure that will evolve over the year. But yeah.
And all of that will help us with our gym goals too. Being more intentional, simplifying the systems and the processes, and just really focusing intentional focus on growing the gym and being disciplined. Look at that. I used almost all the words.
Right. And so being disciplined, for us at the gym, that's us having monthly coaches meetings and starting to actually develop ourselves. That's going to help stretch us, I think, leadership-wise, but also help develop our coaches and for us all to kind of get on the same page, which is one of the big goals, simplifying the processes for the back office and bringing in new members and all that, but also for our coaches to be able to do that and to get people set up.
Not have to text me all the questions.
Right. And creating the consistency and kind of standardizing our coaching in all the classes. So like our 5:30 a.m. should be basically the same as our 5:30 p.m. minus some style differences between coaches, right? Because everybody has their own personality, and you're going to inject that into your coaching, and you should, because we don't want
robots,
right? Right, and it's not anybody is necessarily, oh, my way is better. It's just different.
Yeah.
But again, if somebody comes into my class and I am like, okay, cool, grab a band, you do some pull aparts, okay, grab a barbell, let's go, and it's a 20-minute workout, and we're starting 10 minutes into it because there wasn't a whole lot of warm-up, and I'm having to add workouts and stuff to the end of it because I'm not coaching effectively. That's not the same thing as somebody who, okay, I have this planned out, I'm going to start to work out, I'm going to have a 30-minute warm-up, general warm-up, specific warm-up, okay, start at 30 minutes, it's a 20-minute workout, I'm done by 50, everybody cleans up, and I have time to put people through some mobility stuff afterwards, right? That's a completely different experience from one class to the next, and it should not be like that. So getting really good at that and being able to bring anybody in, somebody who has never done anything, has never touched a barbell, never touched a dumbbell, anything like that, and being able to integrate them into people doing snatches and overhead squats who have been doing it for a decade, should be able to work those people in together, right? And that comes down to the coaching and the teaching. And so standardizing and creating that over the next year.
Yes.
And it's something that I've failed at, that Whitney has asked me a million times, is maintenance on stuff. And I get lazy or whatever, and I'm in here listening to a podcast rather than continuing to move and stuff like that. Like that's not really getting me anywhere in life. Vice having really nice equipment that people can come in and work out on that's not falling apart, right? And so staying up with that stuff is on my goals of things to do this year too.
That makes me happy. He's not wrong that I have asked him a million times.
No, it's been myself. It's 100% my fault. Like, she's asked me, I've not done it because I'm doing other stuff, daydreaming about whatever
What could be.
yeah, rather than doing, right? And so basically over 2025, I just want to fail a lot, because I want to learn. Like, so the more I can fail, the more we're going to learn, the faster we're going to grow, right? So let's try stuff, let's do things, let's experiment, and let's pivot.
I mean, that part of that, like, bringing in new members and simplifying that process, part of that is nurturing not only our current members, but our new members, and making sure that their process of coming into the gym is one that's welcoming, that they'll want to be here, they'll want to come back, they'll want to invite their friends, and really creating, maybe a program might not be the right word, but just something that it's a streamlined process that doesn't fall through the cracks with each new member.
Right, yeah. And something that we could bring coaches on that want to grow and want more opportunity to be able to do too. Because right now it's our personal email, and then we're reaching out with our personal cell phone and all this sort of stuff. There's no way for us to be able to track if somebody's been reached out to or not. So people do occasionally fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
And
it's not something we can delegate. Like, if we're not here, it's not a system that can be like, hey, can you guys keep an eye on this while we're gone? It's still us.
Yeah. So we might be on vacation, but we're still
doing reach outs.
Yeah, we're still doing reach outs and working and handling
and
back office stuff, because people still have our personal numbers, which is great. I love that because I have general conversations with some of our members and stuff. But at the same time, like, we shouldn't have members reaching out to us at 10 o'clock at night that want to do whatever. They want to cancel their membership or something like that, and it's supposed to run at midnight. Like,
I'm already in bed.
Yeah, we're already in bed. Like, I'm not. That's not.
I need my beauty sleep.
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, that's not stuff. So having the systems and stuff in place that we can. Okay, we're going on vacation and we're actually going to be gone for the week, and yes, coaches can still reach out to us, but we're not.
We're tuning out.
We're kind of tuning out and enjoying our vacation, not working just in a different place.
I feel like that going back, we never went on a honeymoon or had like a big celebration when we got married. Like, I feel like that should be part of our personal goals, is going on a honeymoon, but then having like,
let's go.
Maybe we can do a 7-year this summer, 6.5-year celebration. Anyways.
We can go on a cruise to Alaska.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Do it on our 7-year.
Yeah.
Which would be next December.
This December.
It's 2025.
Part of that is like growing the gym. Like, we'd like to grow to 150 members. I think minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's by the end of the year.
By the end of the year.
150 members minimum. And so we can add coaches and delegate some of that to our team members, right? And that's what I want. I don't want coaches. I want our team members. It's all of us as a team growing together.
I like that, yes.
And the more that we grow, the more opportunity that we can add, right? It's like,
absolutely,
if we're making more money and there's more people coming in and we have foundations like every single day, I mean, that's more money and opportunity that coaches have, right?
Yep.
And so then we can actually start creating careers for people rather than, oh yeah, this is just a side hustle, right? We can start paying like a head coach as a salary plus their coaching plus handling stuff on the side, and then having a second full-time, like, it'd be nice to have some full-time coaches that we can pay full-time wages for, that they can actually make a living.
Yeah.
and us actually make a living.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
not just delegate to delegate, but actually like the things that our team is good at
Right.
that, maybe is a headache for us because it's not our strength.
Delegating to their
right?
strengths.
Yeah, like
Putting
that
the
they're
right
good
people
at,
in
that
the
they
right
like
places.
doing,
Yeah.
like that would make a world of difference.
Right. Like
Yeah.
putting people in the right places. Like you don't have Derek Jeter, playing catcher.
Yeah.
Right. It's like that's not how that would have worked. He wouldn't have been great at that. Right. So you put those people. That's how the Yankees won. A million World Series is because they had the right people in the right places with the right coaching and leadership.
Yeah.
And so, I want to build that. I want to build the Boston Red Sox when they broke the curse. Like I want to
build the dream team.
There you go.
There you go.
Look at you with a sports analogy.
And I rhymed. I made a
So,
rhyme.
So it's a matter of finding those right people to put in those places, right? And
We're both
Cramp.
falling apart.
Yeah. So, yeah. Anything to add to that?
Mm-mm.
So, with that, all of that, we will be continuing on the podcast, but we're going to have to focus some on growth in
Yes.
the actual business. And so we will still be putting out podcasts, but it might be more of like on a 2-week kind of cycle. And then also one of my goals is to be able to put out the workouts of the day and everything. So I'll still be putting out shorts and everything on YouTube, and I think maybe to Instagram and stuff
Maybe,
like
yeah.
that.
If we can figure it out.
Yeah. And so I'm still going to be learning this and doing all that, but yeah, putting out the workout of the day, still doing a couple podcasts a month and trying to stay consistent with that.
Yeah.
Maybe putting out some more posts and stuff, just regular posts and stuff on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Keeping you guys informed, but
That's one of the things, speaking of workouts of the day, that we're experimenting with heading into January is removing RX and scaled.
Yep.
And actually focusing more on the stimulus and how it should be done, so it's more individualized for each person. So instead of coming in and looking at the workout and it's like, oh, this is what's written on the board, I have to do it this way, even if it takes me longer than it should, I'm still going to do it this way because that's what's written. And I'll admit I'm guilty of that. I did it last night. I should have scaled it and I didn't, and believe me, I regret it. I regretted it almost immediately. I almost asked you, just go grab me a 25-pound dumbbell. And I was like, no, I'm here now, finish. But removing that out of people's mind, right? Instead of like, oh my gosh, that's what's written on the board, that's what I have to do. How am I supposed to be able to do that? Like, no, here's what we're looking for. Let's pick a weight for you that you can do this, right? That's not so easy that you're done 5 minutes before everybody else, but that you're not so heavy that you're done 5 minutes after everybody else, right? Like, it's finding that sweet spot.
If we say the workout is 18 to 22 minutes and it takes you 28 minutes, like, you missed the stimulus. That was way too heavy, it was way too slow.
It's not even the heaviness, it's because I can't breathe, because I'm...
Right, so conditioning-wise, you weren't ready for that.
I know, I was not.
And
You
so
were correct.
being able to focus on, okay, I'm going to go 25. My goal here is to be able to stay moving the entire time versus having to do 10, sit the dumbbell down, walk around for 15, 20 seconds before I pick it back up. Like, that adds up over 3 rounds, right?
I did it wrong.
And, obviously you're not the only one that did that.
Yeah.
A lot of people were complaining about yesterday's workout, and that's just part of learning and growing, right?
Yeah.
And as an athlete, and I probably fall, especially lately, on the opposite end of the spectrum where I scale too much because of just kind of my goals, and to be completely honest, I've kind of been checked out when it comes to training. With no particular goal that I'm working toward, anything like that. I'm just kind of over the barbells and all that, so I've been kind of bored.
We're going into the conditioning.
Yeah, we
season,
are
so
going
I think
into
you'll
a
maybe
conditioning
like that
block,
more.
so it's going to be longer muscular endurance and cardiovascular endurance and stamina, it's going to be good. But yeah, I've just been kind of checked out and mailing it in because I have to work out. But yeah, and so we all kind of go through these cycles, right? And so that's what we're going to be working on, focusing more on that stimulus and getting the right stimulus out of it, vice RX.
An arbitrary
Yeah,
number.
an arbitrary
written on the board.
subjective number that me, you, and Scott came up with, that people care more about the number than they do that stimulus and what we're looking for, because it kind of defeats the purpose. You know, if we're going for a short, sprinty sort of thing, and you're supposed to be dying at the end of it, and you're not because you were just moving too slow, like that misses it. You're not getting that constantly varied.
And the adaptation, right? Like that's
the adaptation,
the intensity of it is where the changes come from. And that's, if you're not, full disclosure, if you're not getting the results you want, sometimes it's because you're missing that stimulus and intensity, because that's where your body grows and changes.
Yeah. You force your body to do something different, it is forced to adapt. And if you're not getting that adaptation, then you're not growing.
So
that's that simple. You know, if you're not growing, you're dying. It's the same thing when it comes to muscles, right? If you're not constantly pushing your muscles, you're going to atrophy immediately, because your body doesn't want to hang on to any more body mass than it absolutely has to for life. That's why we do what we do.
It is why we do what we do.
So.
Anything else?
I don't think so. I think we have
touched everything.
I think so. Everything I can think of.
Upcoming schedule, we have blood drive scheduled for January 22nd. Outback, the big Red Cross Blood Mobile comes, if you are new to CFC, from 12 to 6, I believe they're here. So you can get on their schedule, or you can drop in. They accept walk-ins. If you guys, again, are new here and have not met Coach Tim, it's been a year and a half now.
About 2 years.
I guess this summer, coming up 2 years, is battling leukemia. And so we have been doing probably quarterly blood drives since that first one.
Yeah.
If you get on their schedule, please work out before you give blood.
Yeah.
Or just take that as a rest day. It's a Wednesday. I know that's a weird rest day, but we just, I mean,
especially if you have O. If you have O blood.
Is he O positive or O negative?
I think he's O positive.
Something super rare. So if you have that, please consider donating.
If you have O blood, please consider donating.
And it's not obviously necessary that he's going to be getting this blood, but there's so many people that it does benefit. Like I have the app downloaded, and it tells me when mine's going and where it's going, and it's cool. I made me cry. Cool to see it's actually helping. And I mean, when I was a kid, I had blood transfusions. So when I was a baby. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So yeah, we have that, and then the next week, January 27th through the 31st, is our first Bring a Friend week of 2025. If you know nobody at CFC, you know Nick and I. So come, we'll be your friend for the week. Come all week long for absolutely free. Check it out. See what we have to offer, the classes. Yes, you'll work, but they will be fun.
It'll be hard.
Yeah.
It'll be hard. It'll be challenging, but our goal here is for you guys to lift another day.
Yeah.
And so
have fun doing it.
Yeah, everything that we do in here should help life out there, right? And if you are injured and or debilitated from working and outside of your capacity, then that's not good for anybody.
No.
And so everything is infinitely scalable. Come in, have fun.
Come back the next day.
Yeah.
And then moving into February 8th, we have an outside personal trainer coming in at 10 a.m. that morning following the Saturday morning workout to do a kettlebell clinic. So learn more about kettlebells, all the different things that you can do with them. I think that'll be really cool to
Some
learn.
of the functional
Yeah.
movements, kind of building that foundational strength and movements in the kettlebells.
And it's free.
It's free, and it's going to be an hour and a half. So if you work out, he's going to do some introductions, stuff
Bring a
like
snack.
that. Yeah, bring a snack. If you eat like Whitney and every 2 hours or something like that, yeah, bring you some food.
Yeah.
But yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that, and just getting around Savion. Seems like a great dude, and I'm excited for us to grow our relationship with him and other people going into 2025. So
yeah. We love you guys. We thank you so much for your support. And the random messages we get saying we love you, like we appreciate you, what you do matters, like that. We are not obviously a big box store,
right,
that like a nameless person behind the entity. Like
we're not a faceless, soulless corporation.
We are humans. Like we have feelings, and sometimes we get not the nicest messages, and I definitely take that more to heart. And when we get the messages that
but guess
we're
what?
doing something right, like it matters.
It does
Thank
matter.
you.
It does. We are imperfect humans trying to do the best that we can to follow what God has on our heart to follow. It's that simple. So we appreciate you guys. If you have issues, if you have feedback, if there's things that you want to see or anything, things that you want us to do, it may not happen right now, but there's been a lot of talk. There's going to be a lot of changes and stuff like that, and we are open to the feedback. Don't be a jerk just to be a jerk. Come to us, have a conversation. Like, we're all adults here, and I think we can resolve a lot of stuff if there is an issue, right? And if not, then we love you. We wish you the best, and but you can opt out. You can.
You're not wrong.
We want, the overall goal is for everybody to be happy and to be getting what they need. And if somebody is miserable and not getting what they need, then we're not meeting that need, and somebody else should. It's that simple. It doesn't. I don't take it personally.
I might. I don't take it personally, but I'm definitely
not if it's respectful.
You're not wrong.
If it's respectful, it's like, hey, I'm not getting what I need here. Like, we've had those conversations before. Like, hey, like I don't like the programming here. Okay, fair enough. Like, we're getting great results overall, and we love you. Like, but
and we have made adjustments, obviously.
right, and we try to make changes when necessary, and we try to keep that stuff in mind. But again, it's growing and learning, and
You're not wrong.
there's not a handbook. There's no directions for this. Put this peg in this hole, and you'll have success. It's like, we're all imperfect humans.
Yeah. We try things, and sometimes they're huge successes, and other times they're
Flops.
huge explosions. And we've you know what? We've weathered through that.
All right. Either way, if you support us, if you don't like us, we love you.
Thank you, guys.
We want you guys to be successful too. So I want you guys to remember that. Stay fit, stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all.